So I want you to take a very close look at this picture. This was me before the carnivore diet. This was me after. In this picture, I trained to failure all the time. In this picture, I did not prioritize failure training whatsoever. I used it as a tool sometimes, but I didn't make it the main focus of my training. So I want to break down to you guys that if you look in the mirror and you don't see the physique that you want, yet you continue to do what got you that subpar physique, because everyone on, social media, whether it be Sam Sulek or Mike Mentzer, all these people, just because they say that you have to train to failure and that if you're not doing it, you're training suboptimally, well, you have to, one, account for the fact that they are genetic phenoms and at the same time likely unnaturally enhanced. But at the same time, you have to realize that if you keep listening to them and you keep doing their programs and their diets as gospel, but you're not seeing the same results, you shouldn't just keep doing it. You shouldn't just do it because, that's what you're supposed to do, man. I must just be the problem. I must just not be going to failure properly. Bro, you know how easy it is to go to failure? That's an issue for people where it's their first day in the gym, where they stop when it hurts instead of stopping when, they're actually done. But seriously, load up a very heavy weight and push it until you can't push it anymore. That's failure. You achieved failure. It's not that hard. The reason why those programs don't work isn't because you didn't go to failure properly. It's because failure, doing that all the time and not using it just as a testing mechanism to see where your strength is at so that you can then program after that, using it as the only tool in your tool bucket, that's just going to lead to CNS fatigue. It's just going to lead to you having brain fog for the rest of the day after you train. Meanwhile, if you, prioritize getting in more work, and I don't mean more volume, but more work in a span of time, to the point where your reps are powerful with speed and quality, and you get a great pump, and you prioritize getting stronger, but not always going to failure. That's how I built all of my muscle. I wasn't making any gains back when I prioritized training to failure all the time on every lift. That just isn't the way to go if you're not enhanced. If you're not enhanced by unnatural means, if you're not, just a genetic freak where anything works for you, you have to realize that if everything hasn't worked for you, you shouldn't continue to do what hasn't worked for you. And that goes across training, as I've talked about with, training to failure. But at the same time, it goes with diet. If you've been tracking your macros, making sure that I make sure that I, weigh out my rice so that I don't miss 2 grams of carb. Bro, look in the mirror right now and be honest with yourself. You've been counting your macros. You've been doing all that stuff. Is it working for you? Are you jacked? Are you happy? Would you be happy if you looked like that for the rest of your life? Because I wasn't. I wasn't when I was so fat that I got these stretch marks that you can't really see anymore because carnivore helps with collagen production. But you have to be honest with yourself, because being honest with yourself is the first step to fixing what got you into this mess, what got you into this state of stagnation. Now, I can attest that not training to failure all the time, eating a ridiculously high amount of fat. I don't track my calories, but if you put my daily eating habits into a calorie calculator, I get 70% plus of my calories from fat. Most of you guys are stopping after 60 grams. It's ridiculous. How do you expect to get cholesterol, which you need to produce testosterone? How do you expect to just have energy when you're only getting it from carbs, which gives you energy for a few hours, and then just, you just continue to ride this wave of being energized, being in a dip, needing some more carbs, and just keeping that addiction going. you're not fueling your body, you're fueling an addiction. So you have to realize that this is just not the way to go. I have a really long video on my channel. It's like 45 minutes long. I describe how I train, how I eat, all that stuff. So go watch that. And you'll realize that, if you just stick with this path of doing what all the fitness influencers say you have to do because that's what the science says, bro, like, it's just going to leave you in this rabbit hole of stagnation that I was in for 8+ years. I just made no gains. And I don't want you guys to just sit there and make no gains despite going to the gym for hours on end. So, if you are serious about this, go watch that video. Go watch it all the way through. It's 45 minutes. Put it on double speed if you have to. If you have to digest as fast as possible, if you simply don't have 45 minutes, which I don't believe that, but if you don't have the time, put it on double speed. Watch it. Learn about how to eat the way that our ancestors did, how to train with work capacity, how to prioritize the right lifts that the pre-steroid greats of old used to use, and you will get jacked really fast, I promise. And if you want some help with that, book a call with me, let's chat, DM me on Instagram if you got any questions, and stop falling for this cult that is led by people with either great genetics or people who are unnaturally enhanced, because I don't want you to be in that latter bucket. I don't want you to think that just because you have pretty bad genetics like I do for building muscle, I don't want you to think that that's your only alternative. There is another way in terms of both diet and training. So lock in, learn from my failures, my mistakes, and don't waste the same amount of years and time that I did. God bless y'all. Shoot me a DM on Instagram if you got any questions, and book a call with me if you want to chat. And eat more meat. Stop training to failure all the time, and I'll talk to y'all soon.